Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, that turns pocket change into hidden gold. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and collectible pieces of U.S. currency, the 1971 United States of America Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary quarter, the kind you toss in a vending machine or hand over for parking. But what if I told you that one rare version of this 1971 Washington quarter has sold for as much as $126,000? Yes, you heard that right, a single 25-cent coin that could change your life overnight. So grab your coin jar and stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes the 1971 Washington quarter so special, so valuable, and so worth hunting for. To truly appreciate the story of this coin, let's rewind to the early 1970s, a time of change, culture, and economic transformation in America. It was the dawn of a new decade. The space race had just ended, the Vietnam War was still ongoing, and the American people were looking toward the future. The economy was shifting, silver was no longer used in circulating quarters, and the United States Mint was producing millions of coins every year to meet the demands of a booming nation. Amid this backdrop came the 1971 Washington quarter, a small coin that represented stability in a world that was rapidly evolving. The Washington quarter was originally introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the nation's first president and one of its most enduring symbols of leadership. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, this coin was intended to replace the standing Liberty quarter and was meant to capture the dignity, strength, and integrity of Washington's legacy. The design became so beloved that it remained largely unchanged for decades, becoming one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Now, let's take a closer look at the design details of the 1971 Washington quarter, details that might seem simple, but each carries deep meaning. On the front, or obverse side, you'll find the proud profile of George Washington, facing left. His calm yet commanding expression reflects leadership and resolve. Above his head are the words, Liberty, and just below that, in small letters, you'll find, In God We Trust. Beneath Washington's neck is the date, 1971. If you look carefully, you might also spot a small letter just to the right of his ponytail, either a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no letter at all if it was minted in Philadelphia. Turn the coin over, and you'll find one of the most beautiful and recognizable reverse designs in American coinage. A bald eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the eagle are two olive branches, representing peace. Above, in bold letters, are the words, United States of America, and just below that, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Finally, at the bottom, the denomination, quarter dollar, proudly declares the coin's value. But beyond its design and symbolism lies the real reason this coin is so exciting, its composition and hidden variations. By 1971, quarters were no longer made from silver. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were struck in 90% silver. However, starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, a combination of copper and nickel that gave the coins their distinct grayish tone. The 1971 Washington quarter is one of the early examples of this post-silver era, but what makes it extraordinary are the rare minting errors and special varieties that can transform this everyday coin into a rare collector's dream. Let's talk about where these coins were made. In 1971, the U.S. Mint produced Washington quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The San Francisco Mint primarily produced proof coins, special high-quality coins with mirror-like finishes intended for collectors rather than for circulation. Proof coins are struck multiple times using polished dies to create sharp, detailed images and a glossy surface. These proof coins were never meant to be spent, which makes finding one in circulation today an incredible discovery. Now, here's where things get truly interesting: the errors. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes happen, and these errors can turn a regular coin into a numismatic jackpot. One of the most famous types of 1971 Washington quarter errors involves coins that were accidentally struck on silver planchets, leftover metal discs from the 1964 silver quarter production. These errors occurred when leftover silver blanks from previous years were mistakenly fed into the presses for the 1971 quarter run. Because the U.S. Mint had transitioned to copper-nickel, finding a 1971 quarter made of silver is like uncovering buried treasure. Collectors identify these silver error coins by their weight and appearance. Regular 1971 quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, while silver planchet errors weigh around 6.25 grams. They also have a distinct sound, a higher-pitched ring when dropped, and lack the orange-colored copper edge that normal clad quarters have. If you ever come across a 1971 quarter that feels heavier, has a brighter shine, or doesn't show that copper line around the rim, you might be holding a silver error worth thousands. Another valuable variety includes double dies, where parts of the design, like the date or lettering, appear double due to a misalignment during the minting process. Collectors hunt for these doubling errors with magnifying glasses, looking for subtle shadows or thickened letters that set these coins apart. Off-center strikes, die cracks, and weak strikes are also among the rare variations that can increase a coin's value. Each error tells a story of how that coin came into being, a tiny mistake in the precision world of coin minting that results in a one-of-a-kind piece of art. Condition also plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with mint state, MS, coins at the top of the scale. A 1971 Washington quarter that has never circulated, retains its original luster, and shows no scratches or wear can fetch significantly higher prices. Proof coins, especially those from the San Francisco Mint with deep mirror surfaces, are even more sought after. Collectors also pay close attention to color and surface quality. Because the 1971 quarter is made of copper-nickel, the finish can vary from bright silver white to dull gray. Coins with sharp details, smooth surfaces, and no discoloration are the ones that stand out at auctions. Even a tiny improvement in grade, from MS-66 to MS-67, can mean a difference of hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value. Imagine this for a moment. You're sorting through your spare change, maybe counting quarters for laundry or a vending machine, and you notice a 1971 date. You turn it over, look closely at the edge, and notice something different: no copper stripe, maybe even a heavier feel in your hand. You take it to a coin shop or send it to be professionally graded, and then you hear the news: you found an ultra-rare mint error. That small, forgotten coin could now be worth more than a brand new luxury car. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Every coin has a story, and every handful of change has the potential to hold a hidden gem. The 1971 Washington quarter represents the perfect combination of historical significance, minting mystery, and collector excitement. It's a reminder that even in something as common as a quarter, there can be extraordinary value waiting to be discovered. Over the years, collectors and investors alike have paid incredible sums for the finest and rarest examples of this coin. Whether it's a pristine proof, a rare silver planchet error, or an exceptionally well-preserved mint state quarter, these coins have become prized treasures in the numismatic world. So, how much can a 1971 Washington quarter really be worth? If you happen to have one in perfect, uncirculated condition, struck on a rare silver planchet, or showing an extraordinary minting error, its value could reach an astounding $126,000. Yes, you heard that right, $126,000 for a single 25-cent coin. That's the magic of numismatics, turning a simple piece of change into a piece of history worth a fortune. So before you spend that 1971 quarter in a vending machine, take a good look at it. Check its weight, examine its edges, look for doubling, or any unusual shine. Because that little piece of metal might just be the hidden treasure that could change your life forever. Today's story takes us deep into the heart of American numismatic history, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from 1973. You might have handled this coin countless times in your life without realizing it could be hiding an astonishing secret. This quarter, which most people think is worth just 25 cents, has been known to sell for jaw-dropping prices at auctions. And yes, One special example of the 1973 Washington quarter has been valued at a staggering $145,000. That's right, a coin you could find in your pocket change could actually be worth more than a luxury car, or even a house. But how is that possible? Let's explore the full story behind this incredible coin, its history, its design, its rare features, and what exactly makes it so valuable today. Let's travel back in time to the early 1970s, an era of change, innovation, and challenges in America. The Vietnam War was winding down, the Watergate scandal was shaking Washington, and the nation was moving toward a new cultural and economic landscape. Amidst all of this, the United States Mint continued to produce millions of coins to keep the economy flowing, including the 1973 Washington quarter. This coin was part of a series that had already been in circulation for over 4 decades, yet it still carried immense respect and historical value. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose design was chosen for its elegance and simplicity. Over the decades, the Washington quarter became one of the most recognizable and enduring coins in American history, remaining in production with only minor changes to its design until 1998. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1973 Washington quarter. On the obverse side, the front of the coin, you'll see the familiar left-facing profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States. His expression is calm yet determined, symbolizing leadership and strength. Above his portrait is the word "Liberty," a bold reminder of the core value that defines the nation. Just below, near Washington's chin, you'll find the phrase, "In God We Trust." At the bottom of the coin is the date, 1973, marking its year of minting. Flip the coin over, and you'll find a striking image of a bald eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons. The eagle represents power and readiness, while the arrows symbolize defense and vigilance. Beneath the eagle's perch are 2 olive branches, signifying peace, a balance between strength and serenity. The top of the coin bears the inscription, United States of America, and just below it, the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. Finally, at the bottom, the denomination, $quarter, is engraved, making it unmistakably clear that this is one of America's most iconic coins. By 1973, the Washington quarter was no longer made of silver. Prior to 1965, quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. But due to rising silver prices and changes in monetary policy, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition, sandwich of copper core and nickel outer layers. This gave the coin a silvery appearance without actually using precious metal. However, even though silver was no longer part of its regular composition, something remarkable happened during the minting of the 1973 quarters. A few were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from previous years. These minting errors are what make certain 1973 Washington quarters incredibly valuable today. Most collectors dream of finding one of these rare silver strike errors, which can be identified by their higher weight and distinct color. Regular copper-nickel quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, while silver planchet quarters weigh around 6.25 grams. A silver error 1973 quarter also produces a different sound when dropped, a higher, more bell-like ring, and lacks the copper-colored stripe along its edge. These characteristics are the telltale signs that you might be holding something truly extraordinary. The U.S. Mint produced 1973 quarters at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced millions of circulation coins, while the San Francisco Mint focused on proof coins, high-quality examples made specifically for collectors. Proof coins are struck multiple times with specially polished dies, giving them a mirror-like shine and sharp, crisp details. If you find a 1973 S-proof quarter in perfect condition, it's already worth more than face value, but if it's a proof error coin struck on a silver planchet, it could be worth an absolute fortune. Let's talk more about the errors and varieties that make the 1973 Washington quarter stand out. Apart from the rare silver planchet errors, there are several other varieties that attract collectors. One of the most sought-after types is the double die obverse, where parts of the design, such as the date or lettering, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Under magnification, you might notice extra lines or thickness in the date, letters, or Washington's features. Another rare type is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned on the planchet, leaving part of the coin blank and the other part misaligned. These can range from minor errors, with just a small portion off-center, to extreme ones where large sections of the design are missing. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin tends to be. There are also die cracks, cuds, and struck-through errors, where foreign materials accidentally got pressed into the coin during minting. Each of these creates a unique appearance that makes the coin one of a kind, a true collector's dream, but condition is another major factor that determines value. Like all coins, the 1973 Washington quarter is graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more perfect the coin. A 1973 quarter that has never been circulated, known as a mint state coin, with a sharp strike, bright luster, and no scratches can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Proof coins graded PR 69 or PR 70 are especially desirable. What makes this coin even more intriguing is that some proof examples have been found with frosted designs and deep mirror backgrounds, a feature collectors call cameo or deep cameo. These ultra-rare finishes make the coin shine brilliantly, giving it a contrast that looks almost like a work of art. Now picture this: you're sorting through a jar of old coins one evening, maybe from your grandparents' attic or an old coffee tin full of change, and you spot a 1973 quarter. You pick it up, notice how shiny it is, how sharp the details look. Then you check the edge, and wait a second, there's no copper stripe. You weigh it, and it's slightly heavier than usual. Your curiosity leads you to a local coin shop, and before you know it, the appraiser's eyes widen. You've just discovered a rare silver-struck 1973 Washington quarter, a coin that could be worth an unbelievable amount of money. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin has a story. Every handful of change you overlook might contain a hidden treasure that connects you directly to American history. The Washington quarter from 1973 represents more than just money. It represents craftsmanship, tradition, and the possibility of unexpected wealth hiding in plain sight. Collectors from all over the world prize these coins for their beauty, history, and rarity. Auction houses have seen some 1973 Washington quarters, particularly those with minting errors or silver planchets, sell for truly astonishing amounts. Proof examples in pristine condition, with flawless surfaces and deep cameo contrast, can command enormous prices as well. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to have a 1973 United States of America Washington quarter dollar in perfect uncirculated condition, especially one that was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet, or one featuring an extraordinary minting error, your coin could be worth an incredible $145,000. Yes, $145,000 for a single 25-cent coin. It's hard to believe, but it's absolutely true. That's the magic of numismatics, finding extraordinary value hidden within something most people overlook every single day. So before you spend that old quarter or toss it into a coin jar, take a closer look. Check the date, 1973, inspect its edges, look for doubling, weigh it if you can. That simple coin could be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a fascinating modern-era coin, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from 1986. At first glance, this coin may look ordinary, just another shiny 25-cent piece that's been in circulation for decades. But beneath its simple appearance lies a story of rarity, minting quirks, and hidden fortune. By the end of this video, you'll see why one of these 1986 quarters was sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $78,000. Let's start by stepping back into the mid-1980s, a vibrant and transformative period in American history. It was the age of new technology, bold fashion, and cultural shifts. The U.S. economy was booming, and the American spirit was strong. In 1986, millions of people carried quarters in their pockets every single day, for parking meters, payphones, and vending machines. The Washington quarter, already a long-standing part of American life, was as familiar to citizens as the dollar bill itself. But what most people didn't realize was that some of these coins, minted in that very year, would become prized collectibles in the decades to come. The Washington quarter has one of the most enduring designs in U.S. coinage history. First introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it was designed by sculptor John Flanagan. His portrayal of the first president of the United States on the obverse side of the coin became instantly iconic. On the 1986 version, you can see Washington's strong and noble profile facing left, with the word Liberty arching across the top. Just below his chin are the words, "In God We Trust," a constant reminder of the nation's faith, and beneath that, the date, 1986. Turn the coin over, and you'll find one of the most recognized reverse designs in American history, the majestic bald eagle. The eagle sits proudly on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness, while an olive branch rests below, representing peace. The inscriptions, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, out of many, one, appear above the eagle, while quarter dollar is boldly displayed at the bottom. Every detail of the design, from the feathers to the lettering, reflects the craftsmanship and heritage of American coinage. By 1986, the Washington quarter was no longer made of silver. That change had happened back in 1965. Instead, these coins were composed of a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. This gave them the silvery shine we all recognize, but they no longer contained any precious metal. However, that doesn't mean they're worthless. Far from it. Because even without silver, certain 1986 quarters have proven to be worth a small fortune, and in some cases, a massive one. Let's talk about where these coins came from. In 1986, the U.S. Mint produced Washington quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were made for everyday circulation, while the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins specially for collectors. These proof coins were struck multiple times using polished dies, giving them a beautiful mirror-like finish. But as with all coinage, not every coin comes out of the mint perfectly. Sometimes, small mistakes happen, and it's those errors that make certain coins incredibly rare and valuable. The 1986 Washington quarter is a perfect example of this. Among the billions produced, a tiny handful left the mint with rare flaws, double dies, or transitional errors that went unnoticed for years. Collectors have identified several exciting varieties of the 1986 quarter. One of the most famous is the double die error, where elements like the lettering or the date appear slightly double due to a misalignment during the die creation process. A 1986 quarter with a visible double die on the obverse, especially around the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," can command an impressive premium. Another valuable variety is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is not perfectly centered. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value, especially if all key details like the date remain visible. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a small curved section of the coin is missing due to a blank being misfed into the press. And then there are the missing clad layer errors, where one of the nickel layers didn't properly bond to the copper core. These coins have a reddish appearance on one side, exposing the copper beneath, and collectors absolutely love them, but the most mysterious and sought-after examples are the proof errors. Proof coins are not supposed to have major flaws, they are meant to be perfect. So when a proof coin leaves the mint with a mistake, it becomes a highly desirable rarity. Some 1986 S-proof quarters have been found with frosted details, mirrored fields, and minor striking anomalies that make them unique. Let's not forget about the condition, a crucial factor in determining a coin's worth. Coin grading can make the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth tens of thousands. The grading scale ranges from poor to mint state 70, with uncirculated coins, those that have never been used or handled, fetching the highest prices. A 1986 quarter in pristine, flawless condition with full luster and no scratches can easily become the centerpiece of a collection. And here's an interesting twist: while most 1986 quarters are made of copper nickel, there have been reports of a few being struck on the wrong metal planchets. For example, a quarter mistakenly struck on a 40% silver planchet intended for special mint sets or foreign coins. These transitional or wrong planchet errors are so rare that when they appear at auction, they can reach astonishing values. Collectors also value eye appeal, coins that simply look beautiful. Even a common 1986 quarter can attract attention if it has a stunning, colorful tone caused by natural oxidation over decades. Blues, reds, and purples dancing across the surface can increase the coin's desirability dramatically. Now, imagine this scenario: you're going through your old coin jar one evening, just sorting through spare change. You pull out a shiny quarter dated 1986, and it catches your eye. Maybe it feels a little heavier, or the details look slightly off. You do a bit of research, take it to a local coin expert, and suddenly, you realize you've stumbled upon something extraordinary. That coin, the one you thought was just another quarter, turns out to be a rare 1986 mint error, one of only a few known examples. In that moment, your spare change just turned into a life-changing treasure. Stories like this happen more often than you might think. Collectors, metal detector hobbyists, and even casual finders have uncovered rare quarters worth thousands of dollars. Some were discovered in circulation decades after they were minted. The thrill of that discovery, that hidden value, is what keeps collectors searching year after year. The 1986 Washington quarter holds a special place in the hearts of coin enthusiasts because it represents the bridge between the traditional era of the Washington design and the coming transformation of the late 20th century. Just over a decade later, the state quarter program would begin in 1999, changing the way Americans viewed their quarters forever. But before that, coins like the 1986 issue quietly circulated, carrying with them untold stories and hidden value. Every coin has a story, and every scratch, every shine, every detail tells us something about its journey. Maybe your 1986 quarter passed through countless hands, was used at a payphone in New York City, or dropped into a vending machine in California. It's a small, silent witness to history. And among the billions made, a few hold secrets that make them treasures beyond imagination. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for, the incredible value reveal. Believe it or not, one particular United States of America Washington quarter dollar from 1986, struck with a rare minting error and preserved in pristine condition, was once sold for an astonishing $78,000. Yes, you heard that right, $78,000 for a single quarter. Just imagine, a simple 25-cent coin, the kind we spend without a second thought, being worth more than a brand new luxury car. That's the power and mystery of rare coins. So, before you spend your next quarter, take a moment to look closely at it. Check the date, inspect the details, and see if you can spot anything unusual. Because you never know, your next coin might be one of those rare, valuable pieces hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most underrated treasures, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. This coin may look ordinary, but some rare versions of this 1972 quarter have shocked collectors and sold for astonishing prices. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll learn how to spot one of these valuable coins that could completely change your life. Let's start by talking about the history behind this coin. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of the first President of the United States, George Washington. It quickly became one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in American history. The 1972 version, in particular, belongs to the series minted after the U.S. government removed silver from circulating quarters in 1965. Instead of being made of silver, the 1972 quarters were struck in a copper-nickel composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Even though these coins no longer contained silver, certain minting errors and rare die varieties from 1972 have made them incredibly desirable among collectors today. Now, when it comes to the 1972 Washington quarter, the United States Mint produced millions of them across 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The quarters minted in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, while those from Denver bear a small d, and those from San Francisco carry an S. Most of the quarters from 1972 are common and worth their face value, but a few exceptional pieces stand out for their rarity, unique errors, and pristine condition. One of the key things collectors look for in the 1972 quarter is the presence of minting errors. These can include double die obverse, DDO, off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, and missing mint marks. A double die obverse error is one of the most famous and desirable varieties. In this type of error, the design on the front of the coin, especially the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," appears doubled. The doubling occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a visible second image. If you happen to find a 1972 quarter with strong doubling on Washington's profile or the letters, hold on to it. It could be worth a small fortune. Another factor that dramatically influences a coin's value is its condition, or what numismatists call the grade. Coins graded mint state, MS, by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch incredible prices. For example, a 1972 Washington quarter graded MS 67 or higher is extremely rare, since most coins from this era circulated heavily and show wear. Collectors are always willing to pay top dollar for coins that remain in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. So, if you come across a 1972 quarter that looks unusually sharp, bright, and free of scratches, it might be worth having it graded by a professional service. Let's also talk about the proof coins. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions of the 1972 Washington quarter specifically for collectors. These proof coins have a mirror-like surface and are struck multiple times to bring out sharp details. Most proof quarters are worth a few dollars, but if you discover one with a rare minting defect, such as a missing S mint mark or a misstrike, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility of finding hidden errors that went unnoticed for decades. In the case of the 1972 Washington quarter, collectors have reported fascinating varieties, such as die adjustment strikes, where the coin appears weakly struck, and coins with partial collars, where the edge is uneven. These oddities might seem small, but they can dramatically increase the coin's value. Now let's imagine you find a 1972 Washington quarter that appears slightly off. Maybe the details on George Washington's face look doubled, or the mint mark seems missing. Before you dismiss it as a manufacturing defect, take a closer look. These little quirks could be your ticket to owning a coin worth thousands. Always use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect your coins carefully. When selling rare coins like these, condition and certification play a massive role. Coins certified by top grading companies can easily fetch 2 to 3 times more than ungraded coins because buyers trust the authentication. Many 1972 quarters that have been graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC have gone on to sell for eye-popping amounts at auctions and private sales. So how much can a rare 1972 Washington quarter really be worth? While most are only worth face value, certain error or high-grade examples have commanded prices that stunned even experienced collectors. A perfectly preserved, high-grade 1972 Washington quarter with a prominent double die obverse or other rare error can bring in thousands of dollars on the open market. Some collectors are even willing to pay extraordinary sums for the best of the best, those rare gems that stand out among millions of ordinary coins. The beauty of this hobby is that you never know what you might find in your loose change, your old coin jars, or even your grandparents' collection. Every quarter tells a story of craftsmanship, history, and chance. The 1972 Washington quarter reminds us that even a simple piece of pocket change can hold remarkable value if you know what to look for. So the next time you're sorting through your spare change, take an extra moment to check the date, the mint mark, and the condition of your coins. You could be holding a hidden treasure without even realizing it. Keep your eyes open, use a magnifier, and pay close attention to any unusual details. And now, here's the part you've been waiting for. One of the rarest and most valuable versions of the 1972 Washington quarter dollar has been sold for an incredible amount, $83,000.